Hello, I'm a wife, mother, grandmother, sister, aunt, and a very concerned citizen. And today I'd like to talk to you about Agenda 21 and ICLEI. In 1992, at the Rio de Janeiro Earth Summit, 178 nations adopted and signed Agenda 21 as official policy. It was officially called UN Sustainable Development Agenda 21 and is now simply referred to as Agenda 21. George H.W. Bush, without the advice and consent of the Senate, signed on for the United States. In signing, each nation pledged to adopt the goals of Agenda 21. In 1995, Bill Clinton, in compliance with Agenda 21, signed Executive Order number 12858 to create the President's Council on Sustainable Development. Every president since has carried out these policies. As a result, with the assistance of groups like ICLEI, sustainable development is now emerging as governmental policy in every town, county, and state in the nation. At least 600 American cities and countless numbers of cities around the world have signed a pledge with ICLEI to carry out UN directives. ICLEI is now in the process of purging references to the UN from its website. What is sustainable development? It focuses on three components: global land use, global education, and global population control and reduction. The bottom line is, if it harms the earth, it's unsustainable. Sustainability elevates nature above man. What is social equity or social justice? Social justice is the right and opportunity of all people to benefit equally from the resources afforded us by society and the environment. This translates to redistribution of wealth. Private property is a social injustice, since not everyone can build wealth from it. National sovereignty is a social injustice. Universal health care is a social justice. All are part of Agenda 21 policy. The following are quotes from proponents. Current lifestyles and consumption patterns of the affluent middle class involving high meat intake, use of fossil fuels, appliances, home and work air conditioning, and suburban housing are not sustainable. Isn't the only hope for the planet that the industrialized civilization's collapse? Isn't it our responsibility to bring that about? That's from Maurice Strong, Secretary General of the UN's Earth Summit, 1992. Individual rights will have to take a backseat to the collective. That's from Harvey Reuven, Chairman ICLEI, the Wildlands Project. We must make this place an insecure and inhospitable place for capitalists and their projects. We must reclaim the roads and plowed lands, halt dam construction, tear down existing dams, free shackled rivers, and return to wilderness tens of millions of acres of presently settled land. That's Dave Foreman, Earth First. The segment of our society who fear one world government and UN invasion of the United States would actively work to defeat any elected official undertaking of local Agenda 21, so we call our process something else, such as comprehensive planning, growth management, or smart growth. That's from J. Gary Lawrence, advisor to President Clinton's Council on Sustainable Development. Human population is to be decreased by 85%. That's from United Nations Global Biodiversity Assessment Report, page 673. ICLEI. ICLEI stands for the International Council on Local Environmental Initiatives. Solano County is an ICLEI member. Mayor Harry Price signed Fairfield up for this global movement. If you live in Vacaville, Vallejo, or Napa, don't think you're off the hook. Your mayors signed you up too. And ICLEI policies are being implemented by unsuspecting county supervisors and city council members. The objectives of ICLEI sound wonderful. Who wouldn't want clean air, clean water, less pollution, etc.? But the underlying goal is to steal our wealth, property, and gain control of all humanity. If you will but look around, much of the destruction of our infrastructure and economy can be laid at the door of Agenda 21. ICLEI is a United Nations group committed to sustainable development, or Agenda 21. ICLEI designs and writes policy on land use, energy goals, and water usage. ICLEI receives dues from your taxes. Our mayors have signed an oath with ICLEI that states all members are governed by the ICLEI, that's the UN, Charter. That means we are being governed by the UN. Under the guise of environmental concern and global warming, your personal rights are being restricted and controlled. Through sustainable development policies, you will soon lose the right to travel freely, to water your garden, to live in a rural area, and the right to drive a private vehicle. Ultimately, you will lose your home and land. ICLEI will decide where and how you live, what you eat, what your children learn, and what laws your town will pass. Why is this happening? UN Secretary Maurice Strong declared, "The affluence of Americans is a threat to the planet." Agenda 21 is the UN's way to strip America of its wealth and freedom. Activities and conditions considered unsustainable by ICLEI and the UN include grazing of livestock, plowing of soil, building fences, industry, single-family homes, private vehicles, land ownership, golf courses, ski runs, paved and tarred roads, agriculture, air conditioning, dams and reservoirs, power line construction, farms, farmland, railroads, fish ponds, and population growth. And that's a small part of the long list considered unsustainable. Watch for these buzzwords on the City Council agenda, then show up at the meetings and ask questions. Unsustainable or sustainable anything. Smart growth, smart meters, vision or visioning, open space, conservation easements, comprehensive development, view sheds, watersheds, public-private partnerships, historic preservation, sustainable farming, regional planning, and green building codes or mandates. I mentioned earlier the destruction of dams. 4 dams on the Rogue River are scheduled to be demolished. One is the Savage Rapid Dam to be torn down in order to save the fish. The dam is known as the #1 fish killer on the Rogue River. Marmot Dam of Sandy River near Portland was demolished in 2007. Removal of 4 dams on Klamath River are scheduled in California and Oregon, said to be the world's largest river restoration project. 2 dams on Washington's Elwha River are slated for removal in 2012. The Elwha Dam in Port Angeles, Washington, was built without fish ladders, and because of that, the dam's days are numbered. They're calling it the biggest dam removal in U.S. history. Pacific Power's 125-foot-tall Condit Dam on the White Salmon River is scheduled to be demolished. And in California's Central Valley, water was turned off in the Central Valley, destroying much of California's agriculture under the guise of saving fish. And need I mention the spotted owl and the logging industry. National parks are being closed to the public by the National Forest Service. Chains and barriers are being used to close off entrances. Congressman McClintock did a YouTube video about some of the problems in Northern California. Bridges are being allowed to deteriorate to the point of no return and are then being torn down. The Solomon Bridge in Graham County, Arizona is a good example. The Army Corps of Engineers said the bridge couldn't be fixed and the river was not to be touched. In the meantime, people were driving 50 miles out of the way to get to the other side. Eventually, everyone got fed up and the Board of Supervisors went ahead and voted unanimously to fix the bridge. They were threatened with jail and a $50,000 a day fine by the feds, and they courageously went ahead and fixed the bridge anyway. Sheriff Richard Mack offered them all 24-hour protection during the bridge reconstruction. They were not jailed or fined. Though it is difficult to remove ICLEI from your community, the following 8 counties have been successful. In February, Carroll County, Maryland elected 5 new commissioners. Their first act was to close the county's Sustainable Development Office and fire its manager. They ended their contract with ICLEI and rejected the county's ICLEI written comprehensive development plan, telling the Planning Commission to rework it to protect property rights and assure the plan was in compliance with the U.S. Constitution. Also in February, Amador County, California, was the second community to reject its contract with ICLEI and begin to dismantle the sustainable development policies that had been put in place. This effort was led by the Motherlode Tea Party. In March, Montgomery County, Pennsylvania became the 3rd community to reject its ICLEI contract and send them packing. In April, Edmond, Oklahoma became the 4th community to reject ICLEI and its policies. The Edmond City Council was confronted by nearly 200 citizens demanding that the city end its contract with ICLEI. In May, Las Cruces, New Mexico became the 5th community to out ICLEI. Sarasota, Florida removed ICLEI in May. In June, Spartanburg, South Carolina became city number 7 to oust ICLEI by a city council vote of 6-0. Also in June, Albemarle County, Virginia Board of Supervisors voted 4-2 to reject its contract with ICLEI. Currently, there are battles waging in Titusville, Florida, Cleveland, Tennessee, Waterloo, Iowa, Wabash, Indiana, Santa Cruz, California, San Antonio, Texas, Chesterfield County, Virginia, Spokane, Washington, and many more. And I'm hoping that Solano County, the county I live in, will be the next one on this list. Thank you for watching, and please check the City Council. Go and see what's happening in your community and what you can find out what you can do. Thank you.